In his early years, Aiden Smith was a typical kid. He loved to run around outside playing cops and robbers with the neighbors. Aiden loved his preschool class, and his teachers told Aiden's parents that they expected him to excel in academics. He loved his sisters and his parents, never expecting anything to go wrong. That was until his parents sat his sister and him down and explained that they were going to be separating. Aiden had never heard of divorce before, and it made no sense. Why was his father getting his own house? Why wouldn't he be able to live with both parents at the same time? Aiden must have done something to upset his father, or else he wouldn't have left. This caused Aiden to have severe anxiety about the whole situation. He was afraid that he might do something else to upset his parents. What if, for example, he knocked over his mom's favorite vase? Would his mom leave the house too? He didn't know how he could get his parents back together. He didn't have any control of the situation. This caused Aiden to feel weak and powerless. He felt like an ant among giants. All of this anxiety and stress continued to build up over the next few years, and it was evident to everyone who knew Aiden. He was struggling with his schoolwork, and he didn't have many friends. Both his parents loved him, and he knew that, but he was still confused why this all had happened to him. Although he realized that the divorce wasn't his fault, Aiden couldn't figure out who was to blame. In fact, Aiden woke up almost every night from a nightmare about a dark figure trying to take him. This malevolent figure was always at the back of his mind. All of this stress was causing him to be depressed. His parents noticed him becoming isolated. Aiden would often sit in his room alone playing video games or just watching TV. This continued on for many more years, Aiden becoming more and more isolated and angry about the situation. When Aiden was 12, his mom began to speak more freely about the divorce. She told him how it all came about, often in an angry way. From this, Aiden began to blame his dad for the entire divorce. He moved in permanently with his mom due to his anger with his father. He was angry at his dad for splitting up the family. It was his fault for leaving his mother, his fault for ruining both Aiden's and his mother's life. This realization from Aiden made him even more confused. How was he supposed to love his father when he had so much built-up anger? The constant stress and anger was something Aiden came to live with. He didn't talk about it much, nobody knew how he felt. To Aiden, this was a normal thing. He didn't realize how messed up his life had become. His grades were failing, he lacked friends, and he felt guilty about how he acted, and he didn't know where he fit in life. As college was approaching, Aiden was anxious to move out. The thought of being away from his parents and all of their issues sounded incredible. The time finally came for him to move out, and it was just as he expected. Living on his own was much less stressful. The issues of his childhood were over. He could now have his own life without the tension of his parents. At least, that's what he thought. He didn't realize that all the problems of his childhood had stuck with him. Aiden ended up dropping out of college after a year. It was too hard, and it didn't seem worth the time and money. Aiden's few friends noticed other issues with him as well. He seemed to get depressed, upset easily, and his relationships never seemed to be very healthy. He ignored all of this. At the age of 24, Aiden got married to his girlfriend of a year, Sarah. For 2 years, their marriage was great. They were happy together, and nothing seemed to change that. Over time, though, Aiden began to notice little things about Sarah that drove him crazy. Whether it was her leaving the cabinet doors open or leaving the cap off the toothpaste, there was always something to complain about. He felt inferior to her, which made him angry. This tension between them grew and grew until Aiden finally exploded in a fit of rage. He yelled at Sarah, ignoring how much he was hurting her. This outburst of anger began happening more and more often until Sarah had had enough. She left him, and Aiden once again was alone and hurt because of a divorce. Aiden was thrust back into the pit of depression, and nothing could pull him out. He felt guilty about how he acted. It was his fault, he realized. He turned to drugs to help him through the pain. To him, there was nothing wrong with this method of coping. It helped him through it, and he wasn't hurting anyone but himself. Every once in a while, someone tried to come and help Aiden, temporarily pulling him out of depression, but he would always fall back into this hole of anger, sadness, and loneliness. No relationship lasted for Aiden. He didn't trust that anyone would stay with him. He felt like he had no control over his life. Life continued on this way for Aiden, with his drug usage ever increasing and his depression deepening. He lost contact with his family, couldn't keep any friends, and lived day to day alone. The anxiety, anger, and guilt of his childhood stuck with him, changing his life forever.